What's up, YouTube? My name is Ghrei, and today I'll be providing what I hope will be a fantastic episode 1 for a successful and fun series. Before we begin, I want to thank Luke the Notable for giving me permission to take this challenge for a spin with my own twists and turns. Check out his most recent video for this sort of challenge. He's on 2,000 freaking days! Head over to his channel, link in the description, and give the man some love. And with that out of the way, there's one more thing to go over real quick before we actually attempt this challenge: the rules. A 100-day hardcore Pixelmon Nuzlocke sounds like an ever-living mess to sort out, and trust me when I say, it was. Eventually, after months of attempts, I set some rules in stone, and I believe them to be very fair. Skip to the time on screen if you want to just see a brief summary of the rules, and keep watching if you want explanations. I will say briefly that I used Biomes O'Plenty for more variety of building materials, and the devs of Pixelmon spent a good hunk of time figuring out appropriate Pokemon spawns for all of the biomes that BOP brings. However, there are no other mods unless they are Pixelmon related. Now, for real, the rules. First of all, this is a permadeath for my Pokemon and myself. If I die, the run ends, and the normal rules of a Nuzlocke apply. Nickname every Pokemon, if a Mon faints, it's considered dead, and if all my team members die in a single battle, I lose. That being said, thanks to the special circumstances of Nuzlocke's overlapping with Minecraft, especially and specifically for this variety of challenge, I've had to tweak a few rules to make this doable. The biggest rule change is how I'm allowed to catch Pokemon. Usually in a Nuzlocke, you're only allowed to catch a single Mon each route, and you can only catch the first Pokemon you see. Gift Pokemon are exceptions, as are static encounters. Obviously, in Minecraft, this can get a little bit messy. If I did it from biome, the first logical step up from roots, then I could simply lure a Pokemon from one biome into another. In addition, if I catch a Pokemon in that area day 1 and I find a legendary there day 89, I can't catch the legendary. Secondly, coordinates would need to be marked for every single Pokemon I caught, and then biome overlap would come into play. Can I catch 2 Savannas Mons if a part of the Savannah is surrounded by mountains or hills, even though it's clearly meant to be a part of the Savannah past this high altitude area? On top of that, if I didn't worry about coordinates and only worried about biomes, I'd only get like 40 Pokemon, which is not enough and not fair to me. That being said, I think I have a good solution. The rules for catching Pokemon relate to resource management. I can catch any number of Pokemon I want, but on any given Minecraft day, I can only keep 1 Mon to use. Now, before you go and comment,
"Hey, Ghrei, isn't this a little bit too convenient for you?"
remember, it takes time to grind money to buy Pokeballs from marts, and it takes time to grow the materials needed to create Pokeballs. And catching a bunch of Pokemon takes time, which is what each keepable encounter is based around. And again, I can only keep 1 of the Mons that I catch in any given day. Every single other one needs to be released as soon as I have access to a PC. In addition, every single Pokeball I use on a wild Pokemon is another hunk of resources gone. So I've got a massive incentive to catch as few Pokemon as possible each day. This rule also means I can set the goal of one day completing the Pokedex without needing to wait until at least 1,000 days. Yeah, there's that many Pokemon now. Secondly, Shiny Claws does apply, and Shinies do not need to be released upon a new dawn. I'm also putting into place something I've deemed the Legendary Event Clause. Not all legendaries are static encounters. Some legendaries can only be caught by performing a special ritual at an altar or by gathering materials or other legendaries, and all these legendary encounters do count towards the daily Pokemon. However, a vast majority of the legendaries cannot be summoned and have a very small chance of spawning in the respective biome or biomes. These legendaries are not going to count towards the overall day's Pokemon count, and that's for 3 major reasons. 1, they're so rare that it will rarely, if ever, take effect. 2, they use so many resources to catch unless you can find a Master Ball or Park Ball. Park Balls essentially being a reskin Master Ball in the context of this mod pack, and this means that catching another Mon on top of them is just borderline psychopathic. Again, assuming you don't have Master Balls or Park Balls. Third of all, the given Mon may not spawn again for literal in-game years. If finishing the Pokedex is something that I want to do in this game, and it is, I need to be able to catch these legends whenever they roll around. Finally, one last sort of encounter to cover, there are fossils. You can mine fossils, fortune pickaxes are a thing, and it would be so incredibly very easy to claim them as all gift mons. This would be far, far too lenient, so I'm making it so I can only keep one revived fossil every day in the game. This way, I can't abuse Minecraft mechanics to make my Pokemon Nuzlocke easier. The last rule to talk about is the grace period before the Nuzlocke starts. Every Nuzlocke starts once you get Pokeballs, but I could literally go 100 days without getting a single Pokeball, and I could easily choose to do that. Needless to say, this is going to need to be amended. I still want to give myself a grace period because circumstances could be harsh. So I think it's fair to say that because a day 0 exists in the game, it's essentially the tutorial of the world for you. You're getting used to how the world layout is around you, getting used to your spawn area, seeing where you can build stuff, grinding up your first team member a little bit so you don't die horridly the moment you step into the world, all that good stuff. 20 minutes to ensure my starter isn't still KO'd once day 1 rolls around seems like a relatively reasonable amount of time to me. Most standard Pokemon games take about that long to give you Pokeballs, too. So, Legendary Event Clause and Shiny Clause aside, only 1 Mon per day rather than per biome or per route. Normal Nuzlocke rules. It's hardcore, so my death means game over too. Full party wipe is game over. 1 Fossilmon per day alongside the normal catch, and day 0 is my grace period free from the permadeath until day 1. There we go! Rules are finally done! Now we can get into that good stuff! Day 0, I had to do a lot of preparations and set a few goals for this 100 days. I wanted to catch and keep a legendary until day 100, build my dream team as much as possible, build a house, start a farm, find a village, and finally craft a set of evolutionary stone armor. It's as good as diamond armor, but a full set gives you bonus benefits, basically preset enchantments imbued into the armor set itself without needing to actually enchant it. These effects vary from stone variety to stone variety. Once I got my mindset right, I had to choose my starter. When prompted, I claimed Charmander. This is purely because it is the only Pokemon that would allow me to fly on its back once fully evolved. You can ride Pokemon in this without saddles, and I did not want to have to go through the work of training up a bird until it was strong enough to carry me on its back. Upon spawning, I found myself in a bog biome, and I soon realized I'd be able to snag a Mon for the Dream Team here as soon as night fell. In the meantime, I explored around and trained up my starter when I could. I gathered up tons of resources, avoiding powerful wild Pokemon. Mons spawn in with varying temperaments, and if you have an aggressive level 60 chasing you when you're level 5, your Mon's getting KO'd unless you are really lucky when trying to run. After zooming around and gathering enough logs, I found myself a Pokegift containing a nest ball. Pokegifts are just Pokeballs resting on the ground, which give you a random item based on the rarity, but you can only claim each one once. Pokeballs are the most common, while Master Balls are by far the rarest. After a couple moments spent searching, I came across the first Pokemon for the Dream Team. I tossed the nest ball at this wild stunky, and just like that, we claimed our little osprey. I also remembered to nickname Charmander Hearthflame here. I roamed around some more, collecting more apricorns and AZ Flabebe flowers for Pokeballs and gravestones, respectively. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm making every single Pokemon that dies in this Nuzlocke a grave to remember them by. The AZ flowers are the prettiest by far to me, so I use them as a sort of respectful departing gift. They don't do anything in-game, just being decorations and all, but after coming across some woodlands, I grinded Hearthflame up against a handful of cocoon Pokemon to get String and Wool for a bed, which when slept in fully heals your Pokemon team. You can only use it at night though, so there is still plenty of risk in this Nuzlocke. After making all the wool I needed, I stumbled into a village and nabbed a bunch of carrots for a snack. Don't worry though, I did my part and replanted them. Soon as I was done, I plopped down my bed and conked out for the night. Day 1 saw some more exciting events and the run finally picked up its pace. I looted the whole dang village, making sure to sell everything I could to buy a solid amount of Ultra Balls. I also bought myself a couple of Pokeballs so I could make my own old rods. It's the same as a fishing pole's crafting recipe, just replacing the bottommost string with a Pokeball. A side note and a bit of advice, if you find yourself looting lots of held items to sell or use later, give a few single items to the Pokemon in your party as extra storage. They may not be able to hold stacks of items, but they can still hold an item apiece. Carrying a PC with you ensures you can swap around mons you've caught without needing to run to a Pokemon Center or back home. Just a little bit of food for thought. As I was skimming the village, I came across a wild Aggron and decided to try to capture it. Now, something you may not have known is that in this mod pack, you can capture Pokemon without entering combat with them. All you need to do is hold a Pokeball or stack of Pokeballs in your hand and throw them at the Pokemon's hitbox. If it hits, the capture attempt goes as though you were in battle, or more appropriately, in the Safari Zone. Pokeballs can break here too, but sometimes instead of just disappearing, you can pick up the lid, base, and button and put them back together. If it's a failed attempt at a capture and it doesn't break on impact, the ball is still gone forever, but if it does break on impact, you can easily rebuild it. But I digress. After a long struggle, I managed to capture the behemoth, and I decided to name it Rhinoceros. Hey, it's the first thing that came to my mind. There isn't much left to it than that. Over the next few days, alongside everything else I did, I made sure to grab plenty of wooden logs. For now, though, it was nap time. Day 2 rolled around, and I decided I needed to ensure my Pokemon's survival, so I trained up Hearthflame a bunch, and he evolved! God, the designs of the mons in this mod pack look so dang good! Anyways, I went out in search of a place to make my home base, but to no avail. I ran out of food on the expedition, and after climbing a mountain for a better view, I ran into a Skidoo, another Dream Team member. I decided I'd sleep next to it so I could capture it day 3, and that's exactly what I did. I nicknamed the Bleeding Bean Azrael and continued on my hike through the mountains, only to find a stronger Skidoo. I decided I'd keep that one, assuming I caught it, which I did, and I named him Asgore. Yes, I do have an unhealthy love of Undertale's goat fam. Thank you for asking. After a lot more trekking, I came across a hidden grotto, which gave me a TM for beat up. See, hidden grottos give you a free Master Ball level Poke gift, but they're incredibly hard to come across. In fact, you're even able to get Master Balls from this kind of Poke loot. Regardless, I continued on my journey across this land with my new TM. As of day 4, I'd discovered the very island I'd want to call home. For the rest of day 4 and part of day 5, I terraformed the island, replacing the normal dirt, sand, and stone with Poke Dirt, which I like the look of much better. Poke Dirt is just like normal dirt, in case you were curious. Just looks different, and I don't think it can be tilled with a hoe. I also set up the floor plan for my home. Day 6 saw the beginning of my apricorn orchard. Unfortunately, you can only have a max of 32 apricorn trees in a given chunk of your world, so I had to finagle all of the trees I wanted into my backyard. Luckily, my backyard overlapped 2 separate chunks, so it all worked out in the end. The great construction of mine home began as well. And shut up, I like the look of slab windows, okay? Let's in some fresh air too. Day 7 came around, and after completing my house, I began construction on my mine. I like to put them in a corner of my house so I can avoid mobs outside, and can conveniently slip straight out of bed and into the caves. After getting a solid strip mine started, I set the floor to wooden slabs to avoid mons or mobs spawning inside, and I started making a bunch of charcoal by smelting logs from nearby trees. I also grinded up my team, and dang flabbin', I know the roof's trimming isn't done. It's half oak planks and half spruce logs. I was just too lazy to hunt down more spruce trees, okay? I'll fix it in 200 days. I climbed back into the mine come day 8, and I could easily have died to lava if I wasn't as careful as I was. There was a mighty big pool there, and I didn't have a water bucket.
Ah, yes, diamondes. Oh, the lapis. Enchanting soon arrives to me.
Despite finding tons of good stuff in the cave, especially tons of iron, which can be used for mass-producing Pokeballs, I couldn't find the main thing I needed, which was bauxite ore. This can be smelted into aluminum, and with the help of a Pixelmon anvil and hammer, they can be turned into aluminum plates, which are required for tons of machines used to advance in this Pokemon world. On day 9, good channel, I built myself a bridge to the mainland out of cobblestone slabs and built a cobblestone fence all around my island to keep intrusive and abusive wild mons in bay. Get it? Because I'm on an island. Anyways, after asserting my dominance over the local wildlife, I traversed the mines yet again, new ruby pickaxes in hand. How did I get them, you ask? Well, to keep it simple, Pixelmon has gemstones that you can use to make weapons or armor just like iron, except the armor gives you a speed boost. I don't know if the gear has any difference, but seeing as I use these pickaxes as throwaways, I didn't really care. After more exploring, I found more and more diamonds. Arceus above, how am I getting this lucky? Riding my lucky streak, I spent days 10 and 11 in the mine, seeing what else I could scrounge up. Still no bauxite though, sadly. Day 12 rolled around, so I decided to get some food by fishing. I needed sustenance and I just hadn't gotten any yet. I fixed the fences around my property so I could actually circle my entire house. And I updated my floors to smooth stone slabs and a Pixelmon decoration block called Cave Floor Blocks. Takes 4 gravel to make just 1 block of that stuff. I also set up a mini farm out back, which, over time, would become a carrot farm. Carrots are the most superior food. I trained up the team a bit and managed to evolve Asgore, only for him to die to a gosh dang Sawsbuck! It had Megahorn! How did it even have Megahorn? What the heck, man? After speedrunning the 5 stages of grief, I made Asgore a grave and vowed vengeance against every deer on this Arceus Forsaken rock. I kept training day 14 and oh, come the freaking Hearth Flame explosion, really? I thought freaking Fortress didn't learn it yet. Fine. It's fine. Earth Flame's in a better place now. I made his grave as well. And don't worry, for 200 days I'll fix any incorrect dates on these graves. I didn't take notes as I played like a dingus, so I had to guesstimate the time that I caught them. I decided now was a good time to start mass producing a bunch of Pokeballs, so I got going on smelting the apricorns I'd begun farming. I made a couple mechanical anvils so production could be automated. Usually you would need to place a Pokeball lid on a Pixelmon anvil and use a hammer to flatten it into a proper lid, and the same goes for iron or aluminum bases. However, if you use a mechanical anvil, you can use coal instead of hammers, and the machine will mold the lids and bases for you. Oh my goodness, does this save on resources. Anyways, day 15, I really only made cardboard boxes for a bit of extra storage. Make them the same way as a normal chest, just replace wooden planks with paper. And they don't combine, as far as I know. Day 16 arrived and allowed me to catch a Fletchinder, tossing the previously caught Fletchling to eventually grind and evolve into a Talonflame. This lad would serve the same purpose as Charizard would have, and seeing as I do this for every Talonflame, I named her Phoenix. Day 17 saw Phoenix evolve, and now I can fly! Heck yes! This makes exploring so much easier! But I was still missing a crucial part of the puzzle. A fast way home. Luckily, I knew just what I had to get. I didn't have the means to get that yet, so setting it aside as day 18 rolled in, I explored the initial area around my base for a while, and I finally found some bauxite ore! I managed to make myself a set of Aether armor too. All crystal armor good for dimensional travel. Not only that, but a hecking Latias spawned! I desperately tried to catch this thing outside of combat, even giving in and trying to weaken it for an easier capture, but it ate up every single one of my Ultra Balls and just would not be caught. It killed Rhinoceros, and worst of all, Latias is actually one of my more preferred legends! From that day forward, I vowed to always have enough Pokeballs to either catch any legendary or make them despawn from too much time spent trying to catch them. After making a Ghrei for the fallen Aggron, I gave a moment of silence for the 3 perished Pokemon. This was not going well at all. Day 19 saw better news at least. I finally made a healer. This meant I'd be able to heal my Pokemon at any time, not just at night, and it would serve as a sort of anchor to return home. One final bit of the puzzle was missing, and I would claim that piece soon. First, I spent the remainder of day 19 all the way to midday on day 21, creating Pokeballs and making more charcoal for fuel. I spent the remainder of day 21 gathering more bauxite ore and mining tons of obsidian. I'd need a lot. A shocking amount of recipes called for obsidian in Pixelmon, so gathering a buttload of it is always good. Using some of it, I built a nether portal and a second healer, an anchor for the nether. Day 22 saw the creation of an enchantment table, and other than mining up nether quartz for EXP and glowstone for several purposes, days 23 and 24 were spent finding a Pokemon in the nether that could not only learn, but that had teleport. I got lucky enough to find a Kadabra that somehow still had it, and thanking Arceus, I warped back to the healer I'd placed by the nether portal and headed home. How did I do that? Let me explain. There are several external moves in Pixelmon, which are moves you can use outside of battle. Moves like Discharge or Thunder bring down a Thunderbolt from the heavens, Ember and Flamethrower spread a bunch of fire like Flint and Steel, and Cut chops down a whole tree. The reason I wanted a mon with Teleport is because it's also an external move. Fly and Teleport do the same thing. They both warp you back to the last healer you used. If I put a healer in the nether and a healer at home base and heal at them before I go exploring, with a Fly or Teleport user in my party, it'll literally be impossible to get lost in any given dimension, and I'll also never need stinking coordinates to find my way back home. Days 25 through 27 were spent trying to discover a village so I could swipe their bookshelves for my enchantment table. Along the way, I found an igloo and cured a zombie villager. Ooh, what's this? Another igloo with another Zambono? Sorry, bro. Only one good deed per world. Give me that Monster Hunter achievement. After claiming an innocent life so I could claim I killed monsters, I came across an Articuno shrine, which is one of the shrine summons I was talking about in the intro. And every single shrine has some good loot. I got some orbs, which are actually used at a vast majority of altars. The Articuno altar ain't the only altar I discovered, though. I also ran into a Lugia shrine, and it has to be a new addition. I remember when the only way to catch Lugia was using a tidal bell to summon it. Speaking of shrines, I came across a jungle temple with some decent loot. I had to carefully sort out my inventory while exploring here, or I'd need to leave some crucial stuff behind. I also came across a biome with willow trees, my second favorite type of wood in Biomes O'Plenty, overtaken only by mandrakes. So I grabbed tons of saplings on my way through. I also found
mahogany.
grabbed some saps for them too. I even found myself an Alps biome, which gave me a hot springs water bucket. This thing is like a normal water bucket with roid raging regeneration potions blended in. This stuff is great for grinding because it even heals up Pokemon when they're in it and outside of their Pokeballs. Finally, on day 27, I came across a gosh dang village. I looted, got some more Ultra Balls, and just demolished their bookshelves. I grabbed everything they had, from Clifford the Big Red Bloodstain to 50 Shades of Grey. How exactly would this literature lead to stronger enchantments? Carefully. Day 28, I warped back home and planted all the saplings I'd gathered. I also made sure to finish up the enchanting room, and on day 29, I dove into hell to grab a ton of quartz. Not only did it give me oodles of EXP for enchanting, but I love quartz as a block. It's so nice! Once all the enchanting and combining was done, I managed to have myself an Efficiency 5, Fortune 3, and Unbreaking 3 pickaxe. It felt so nice to have the key to a proper source of fuel and evolutionary stone armor. Days 30 and 31 were just spent making golden apples and aluminum plates, then mining trees that had grown. I wound up with plenty of wood. From day 32, after of course I caught KOed the Klinklang, all the way to day 37, I decided it was finally time to meet another goal. I had my farm and I had my house, but I still really wanted that evolutionary stone armor. I decided that, for the time being, the best option for me would be Firestone armor. So, to make Evo Stone armor, you need Evo Stones. To get Evo Stones, you have to either KO Pokemon who drop them as loot, which are not that common, or to get shards of the wanted stones. Shards can also be gotten from roaming Pokemon, but they're more commonly found as ores. Here's where Fortune 3 comes in. Usually, you only get one shard from each ore block. However, Fortune does apply to these shard ores, and the max Fortune level would speed up the process greatly. To make a full set of Evo Stone armor, you would need to round up 3 stacks and 24 extra shards. 9 shards make 1 stone, and you gotta have 24 stones for a complete uniform. That's why it took me 5 days, even with Fortune 3. After I got the last of the shards on day 37, I went and enchanted everything, and each armor piece had at least Prot 3. Not only that, but Firestone armor makes you immune to fire and lava. I could literally go diving in the Nether's oceans and be A-OK. No time limit, no potion, nothing else needed. So, on day 38, that's exactly what I did. Oh, I also made a Thunderstone sword, which I called Thunderstruck. After swimming for a bit, I grinded up blaze rods, blaze powder, and even more EXP, then went home. Day 39 was spent fishing and farming, and upon day 40, I had managed to fish up the pieces to make the ultimate fishing rod. Unbreaking 3, Luck of the Sea 3, Lure 3, and Mending. I am now the Ultra Fishing Pro! Nothing much different on day 41. Aside from more fishing and farming, I began brewing up some potions for a voyage I wanted to make very soon. I had a plan to get tons of Ultra Balls, and it involved a lot of fossils, a godly pickaxe, a metric ton of balls, and an overabundance of iffy beverages. Day 42, though, I fished even more, and found the pieces to the ultimate bow. I'm talking Punch 5, Knockback 2, Infinity, and Unbreaking 3. God Bow! Kept on fishing day 43, mainly to pass the time while I waited for my mass-produced capture spheres to be bent into shape. I finally changed up my routine day 44, where I went to the Nether and grinded for some sweet EXP. Days 45 and 46 were spent mining in an attempt to make a Nether highway, but seeing as I had no dang clue how to even start one, I felt it was better to just leave it until later. Day 47 came around, and I finally put my plan into motion. All the way through day 48, I used my water breathing and speed potions to travel the ocean floor, gathering plenty of waterstone shards and covered fossils along the way. Fortune 3 also gives me tons more fossils when I go to mine them up, which is why I wanted my god level pick before I did this. I needed water breathing potions because I wasn't able to give my helmet Respiration 3 yet. I headed back home on day 49 and continued the Pokeball production, making an armor hallway whilst waiting for the furnaces and mechanical anvils to do their thing. There are a lot of armors in this mod, and eventually, I'd want to make every single set. I also made myself a fossil revival machine, several fossil cleaners, and a laboratory side room next to my enchanting area, where I'd put all the sciencey type machines for summoning or reviving Pokemon. Day 50, I decided to make some moon ball displays. Basically nightlights in the design of any Pokeball in the game, in honor of Mr. Sandman from my Pokemon Sword streams. Still can't believe that happened. Shiny and critical capture. Anyways, I cleaned up all the fossils for the rest of 50, and for 51, I decided to clean up the lab area itself. Make it look nice with some quartz. Give it some pop, some pizzazz. Day 52, I went in a new direction for exploration and came across a Kyogre shrine in the ocean. These things are great because they give you Dark Prismarine, a block I simply adore, and free anvils. Most importantly, this temple gave me everything I'd need for a faded blue orb. Here's the thing about orbs. To be able to use them, you need to KO a certain number of Pokemon, sometimes of a specific type. For a blue orb, you gotta KO 500. Yeah, 500 water-type Pokemon. Needless to say, this takes a while, but seeing as Primal freaking Kyogre is the overall reward, I'd say it's well worth it. I crafted the blue orb on day 53, updating my wood window slabs with quartz slabs, and putting down more chests instead of leaving those ugly cardboard boxes all over the floor. After shifting over my items, I made the floor into Dark Prismarine and Nether Quartz, and I think that's perhaps the best the floor has ever looked. This is how I'd keep it for the rest of my time here. But maybe it'll change up in 200 days, who knows? The arrival of day 54 brought with it much tree chopping and shrine looting. I found me a Kyogre altar and 3 more anvils! I also found yet another Dream Team member chilling on the graveled beach I was flying over. I caught Blubble the Arachnid, happily plopping his Pokeball into my PC. After a bit more flight though, I came across a village. At last, an actual real nearby village! I flew there immediately, selling all the clean fossils I had along with all of the custom Pokeballs I had built, which let me buy a ton of Ultra Balls. Between then and day 55, I somehow found 2 Park Balls and a Beast Ball. Remember what I said about Park Balls being effectively Master Balls? Yeah, that's a really lucky and good thing. Day 56 came along, and on that splendid day, not only did Osprey evolve, but I got even luckier and found a heckin' Master Ball! Things only got better day 57. This is when we caught Toriel and evolved her. We had a Go-Goat again, and this time I refused to lose it. So from day 58 all the way to... Holy crap, day 66? Jeez. Well, from 58 to 66, I grinded up Toriel on water types, while keeping the faded blue orb in my hotbar to track its progress. Toriel grew insanely powerful in this period of time, but of course, grinding is not all that happened throughout 8 whole days. Let me give you a quick rundown of the craziness that was this period of time. Day 58, Osprey died and I was crushed. I caught Osprey Jr. on the same day, and as of day 59, I was the proud owner of Crochet the Pincurchin and Diesel the Latios! Park Ball coming in clutch! I beat up so many Clawitzers and Claunchers that I was able to make 2 Shulker boxes. Those mons have a 5% chance to drop a single Shulker shell each. Finally, on day 66, I caught Mr. Sir the Galarian Weezing. I know y'all remember him from Pokemon Sword. During day 66, I seeked out the Kyogre shrine I'd found a while back and excitedly summoned the Leviathan. I said I summoned the Leviathan. What is going on? I filled the orb and now I can't. Oh. Okay. So you need Mega Heckin' Rayquaza to summon Fudgin' Kyogre. Of course. How could I be so foolish? Well, with Primal Kyogre thrown out the window, I figured I'd finally start my netherwork farm on day 67, as well as beginning an attempt to claim ownership of a Respiration 3 enchantment book for my helmet. And of course, Osprey Jr. heckin' died! God, every stunky I touch gets turned into a corpse. Day 68 reminded me that I had to gather some special materials for day 69, and before I prepared for the funny number day, I decided to make a Melton box and Zygarde cube. These would let me summon Melmetal after gathering 400 Meltons, and Zygarde after collecting 100 Zygarde cells respectively. Day 69 came, and all I really did was build a Pokemon breeder. Hell yeah, that's some sexual on the day with a funny number that is also a day 70. I went on to explore the Nether, but not before creating the God Bow. While in the Nether, I found a level 88 Palosand, which I promptly caught for protection, and named Garbanzo because I genuinely have no fudging idea. Like, for real, he ain't a plant or a bean or anything. Garbanzo beans aren't even related to possessed sand. I should have named him William Baker or something. However, Garbanzo was not the only mighty Mon I caught in hell. Another legendary event Mon appeared. Yveltal! Needless to say, I parkballed that mofo and flew around on his back for the rest of the day. And for day 71. Days 72 through 76 were all spent looting, exploring, and searching for wild Pokemon that would drop Ender Pearls. I decided now that I wanted to slay the Ender Dragon as a part of this 100 days, but I simply couldn't do that without Ender Pearls. The only ways to get them were if I had Endstone, which is a catch-22 situation, or if I KO'd specific psychic types. Hostile mobs don't spawn, save for a couple exceptions, which means no Enderman, and I really don't like that very much. But hey, what can you do? I gave up on day 77 and deemed it necessary to get organized. From day 78 all the way to day 90, no cap, building a storage room and organizing all of my crap. During this time, I also built a small grinding area, but I heard poisonous spooters from a spawner up above me, one of those exceptions I just mentioned for hostile mobs, and decided not to make it much larger. Not yet, at least. I also had a couple expeditions in this period of time. On day 80, I caught yet another event legendary, a little pixie boy known as Yuxi. I named it Banana because look at the top of his head. I also caught Burbium on day 87, a Skarmory who I would actually ride into battle for the big fight. Why not Ragnarok or Diesel? They both died on day 89! I got stupid and greedy trying to fight a boss and get a Mega Ring, which is when Ragnarok died. I got it eventually, but I wasn't content with just one fight. Oh no! I just had to fight a Mega Mewtwo Y, which killed poor Diesel! God, sometimes I shock myself at just how smooth brain I can be. Days 91 and 92 were spent solemnly in the Nether, trying to hunt down Mons who dropped Ender Pearls. I didn't have any luck in the overworld, so I hoped like hell that I could find them in hell. During this excursion, a Volcanion spawned. It took me a long time to find it, and it despawned before I could catch it. Feels bad, man. In brighter news, I left the Nether with a stack of Ender Pearls. I went home and made preparations for the Ender Dragon fight for days 93 and 94. I hunted down the stronghold and prepped the portal to make a grandiose entrance when the time came. I marked the coordinates down and went back home, preparing plenty of Strength 2, Regen 1 Plus, and Instant Health 2 potions. I grabbed all of my golden apples, ensured I was wearing my Prot 3 armor, and equipped myself with my Hot Springs bucket for some MLG water and for free health. I snagged my God Bow, a couple arrows, and made a Sharpness 2 sword. Then day 95 was the day. The day to end all others. I hopped onto Borbium and flew to the coordinates I wrote down. I mined straight into the portal and squirmed up to the grandiose stage that this battle would take place on. Please enjoy my very first legitimate fight with the Ender Dragon. There's no sound to it, so I'll put music behind it. Enjoy. tap by MLG watered for the first time and the third time there. That felt incredible. Comment below if that was a good battle. I got no clue. Day 96 was spent at the end gathering up some cool lighting blocks that I think were called celestial crystals, but the thing I gathered even more of was freaking endstone. A bunch of stacks were coming with me, and that was final. Days 97 through 99 were simply spent vibing. The Ender Dragon fight was exciting and all, but maybe it was a bit too exciting. I fished, farmed, and enjoyed the home I built for myself. And on day 100, what did I do for the final day of this video? What else? I caught a Bonsley. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and want to support me to make more like this, slap the like button, ding-a-ling that bell, and obliterate that subscribe button. Thank you all yet again. And never forget, y'all are beautiful people. You guys are amazing, and you should feel amazing, and we will see all of y'all in the next video. Goodbye.